What is going on, everybody? It's episode 884 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. We're sound checking and doing everything live. It is Thursday. I hope you're all doing very, very well. We got a big episode, and I'm here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, crisis actors. Hello.
Hello.
It's Mary. And I guess it's not Thrashing Thursday today because instead of Phil, we have Libby joining us.
Hi. How's it going, guys?
I guess it could
Good.
be post-millennial
I'm happy to
Thursday.
be here. Well,
It's been a while.
it has been a minute.
Yeah, we needed some more female perspective on the show.
Well, yeah, we're
Okay.
going to be talking
So-
about the T-app today. I can't
Especially
have
with the
I'm
subject
stoked
matter.
about that. I only recently
Oh.
learned about the T app, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Okay, so you like enjoy this concept. The
No,
tea
I
concept.
am excited to talk about
I
it.
see.
I don't know much about it.
Got it,
I
got
saw
it.
a post from a friend of mine this morning, and I was
Okay.
that's
We
a
have
thing
a-
now in the world.
20 from Willem. Sorry for your loss, Brett.
I'm assuming you're talking about Hulk Hogan. Like, I saw
Yeah,
a
I was
post
like,
on
what?
X. I grew up in that era. I was born in 1986, so like just after Hulkamania started. So I'm actually at the latter half of Hulk Hogan's wrestling career, meaning that for me, my first introduction to Hulk Hogan was really NWO Hulk Hogan. But I will get into more of that later. But thank you. We got another one in there.
Weary Traveler said Libby stands. Rise up. I love that. People were putting together their like fan favorite IRL panel
I saw
lineup.
that. I looked.
I was on like one of them.
I think I showed
No.
up on like I was like I wasn't even on one. I was on like, and if one of these guys is gone, I was basically an auxiliary player.
Yeah.
I showed up
you
in
were
the
on
backup.
several of them, Mary.
Okay, that's
I
good
read
to
every
know.
single comment.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was shielding myself.
I don't. So now, if I post anything on X, I just mute immediately so that I don't. I deleted X off my phone initially, and I still have that off the phone.
Whoa.
But as a means of like preventing dopamine overload, I just don't. Like if I seek out reading them, that means that I didn't see like a little notification saying you've got X amount of notifications. I have to actively go and look
We've
for
got-
it.
Another 20 from Francisco Sanchez Jr. What you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you? R.I.P. HH.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate letter combination that people keep putting out there.
Oh, it is.
Well, he's always signed off HH. That was his
Listen,
thing.
you can't just let the Nazis have all the letters and numbers.
and
They
all the
can't.
mustaches.
No, they
Yes,
can't.
he
They
did have an
can't.
amazing mustache.
Just
much
know the
like
Nazis
much like
claiming the alphabet.
HH, Hulk Hogan also had a very unique mustache.
If you want to see a great like Hulk Hogan impersonation, it's I've never been able to find the clip on YouTube, but I have found the clip on Dailymotion. If anybody here ever goes to Dailymotion, there is a great impersonation from The Big Show as the showster, doing a Hulk Hogan impersonation on Kurt Angle that is absolute gold. I recommend anybody that was a Hulk Hogan fan to go back and try and find that clip because it's at a pay-per-view and it's absolutely fantastic. So we're getting a little bit distracted here, guys, but thank you guys so much for all the enthusiasm early in the show. Hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Remember to share the content out with everybody in your life that you know, that you love, that you hate, even the people that you hate. Share it with them and then argue about it in the comment section. That way you can increase our engagement. It helps this channel grow a lot. So thank you guys so much for that. So what are we getting into today? Well, one of the things that we are going to talk about is the news about the passing of legendary pro wrestler Hulk Hogan, because there's a look, his career spans many decades, 5 decades, and he's much more than just a pro wrestler. He's a lot of things to a lot of people. And I also want to kind of talk about the idea of celebrities dying in threes, because that has, of course, happened now with Malcolm Jamal Warner passing just recently, and then, of course, just Ozzy Osbourne the other day.
Was Hulk Hogan's death announced last night or this morning?
I believe it was this morning.
It was this morning.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I didn't see it last night. I saw it
TMZ, I
this
think,
morning.
had it.
It would have been
first.
crazy if it were literally the day after Ozzy
Yeah.
Osbourne. But
People were making the callous joke that Hulk Hogan, being the attention seeker that he was like not going to let Ozzy
Wait.
Osbourne have the spotlight. He's like,
Do-
sorry, brother.
do you mean the announcement came out this morning, or he actually did die this morning?
Well, we'll get into it. I
didn't
don't. I
see-
think he died this morning.
Oh, wow.
And the announcement came out
Okay.
this morning. But we'll double check the dates on everything. I just know it was
Crazy.
cardiac arrest. He was 71. So we're going to talk about Hulk Hogan. We are also going to talk about Sydney Sweeney stocks. There's a whole stock market now related to the actress Sydney Sweeney, who's seen, first it was Dr. Squash. They got bought out by Unilever like a month after her ad campaign. And now she is doing a new ad campaign for American Eagle, and their stock bumped huge last night after the market closed and opened high today. So we're going to talk about that. Also, people are saying this is once again the death of wokeness. So we're going to talk about that.
Can we argue with them on that? Like, it kind of is.
Okay.
It is a landmark event
I hate that
in the
word.
death of woke.
We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about the T app. It's an app that women can now download. I don't know how they keep it to just women or if men are going to join
They can sneak on there,
surreptitiously.
for sure.
Where they go and they dish about bad dates and toxic men, and it's just a gossip platform for everybody. So we're going to talk about that. It doesn't sound like it's going to cause problems at all.
Another 20 from Aaron Swain, R.I.P. Chuck Maggione. Maggione, is that how I say it?
I think it's Maggione.
Maggione as well. Megalomart lost its best spokesman.
So not just him, but also the voice of Professor Oak in Pokemon died today. So
Really?
3 just today. So it's like 6, 3 and 3. Well, it's 5, 3 and 3.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously Hulk Hogan is
Hogan
like a
is the
bigger
biggest
star.
name. So
Yeah.
we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about the Gen Z stare. We talked about it 2 weeks ago?
I'm going to try to channel it. I'm going to do the Gen Z stare right now. Ask me a question.
Can I have some cheese on my burger?
That's how it works.
It's they stole it from millennials who had the millennial pause. They just extended it even farther.
At least the millennial pause is like, you want to make sure it's recording. You're like, boop.
That's from a time back when there was a delay on things, right? Like that's
Yeah.
actually that's like
Actually,
evolution caused
there
that.
still is a delay. That delay never went away. When you record on your phone, there's still a delay, but Gen Z just ignores the delay and cuts themselves off.
I just hate it because you could just cut, all it takes is cutting it out. It's like, so I actually used to have this one of my strongest opinions was when people would record videos like this and then they wouldn't flip the image for a professional thing. They'd record these videos and then they'd leave the image flip because they'd use the front facing camera, but you're actually told not to flip it because it signals authenticity that it's a phone video.
Yes, it's very
So I was wrong.
organic.
So we're gonna talk about the Gen Z stare because Gen Z people who have no social decorum and don't understand how society works are using it as an excuse to be like, we are trailblazers. We don't care if you're uncomfortable around us. So we're gonna talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you guys are ready, we can just go. You ready, Mary?
Yeah, let's go.
You ready?
I'm all set.
Let's go.
All right. The world found out today that Hulk Hogan has passed away at the age of 71. TMZ reported on it. Weirdly, they found a recording of the 911 call regarding his cardiac arrest. He was carried to the hospital and then pronounced dead this morning. And now WWE has released a statement saying one of pop culture's most recognizable figures, Hulk Hogan, helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. And just last month, actually, TMZ was reporting on rumors that Hulk Hogan was on his deathbed or possibly in a coma, which
Because
his
he'd
wife
had,
denied at the time.
Yes, he had neck surgery, I believe, fusion surgery, and then those rumors persisted. I didn't listen to any of the, it's weird because I listen to wrestling podcasts, and I must have missed, I imagine Solomonster would have covered this, and I think he said that he did. I saw his response to this on X, but I didn't catch that, and now they're saying that, was that even true? What were they lying about that? And you asked why they'd lie about that. I said, if I'm somebody like Hulk Hogan's wife or any public figure, they want the privacy. They're they're not gonna be like, yes, he's on his deathbed.
I actually wasn't.
Who's actually gonna say that? Who's gonna be like, yes, actually, he is on his deathbed.
I wasn't aware that Ozzy Osbourne was diagnosed with Parkinson's. That's something we didn't mention when we were initially talking about his death, but it's not like it came as a surprise to anyone because the public was aware of that before.
So the thing about Hulk Hogan is he spans so much time, going all the way back to the mid 80s. I informed Mary about the slogan, say your prayers and eat your vitamins, which she had never heard before. And I think Mary might actually be shocked to learn.
Wasn't train in there?
Yeah, like Mary might be shocked that there was a time where say your prayers was part of like a mainstream slogan.
Was it like ironic?
No, it was not ironic.
No, it was for real.
Wow.
Hulkamania was a huge thing at that time, and one of the big like core tenets of that character back then was heavy American exceptionalism, because he'd always be taking on like the Iron Sheik or villainous wrestlers from foreign countries. You know, he was the original xenophobe. He would go and beat up all of the bad guys from foreign countries, and America was like, you know, the Soviet Union just fell. We're beating Andrei Volkov or whatever his name is, and it was a sign of American exceptionalism. It was a huge time in pop culture. I was not even really a wrestling fan at that time, but my earliest memories of Hulk Hogan to this day were the trailer for the movie Suburban Commando, because it came on my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 cassette tape. And I still will go back on YouTube and watch that trailer from time to time.
My cousin had Hulk Hogan action figures, and they were sort of rubbery, and he had like a Roddy Piper
pillow?
one.
Did he have the pillow of Hulk Hogan?
No, they were like this big. Okay. But we used to make them date my Barbies.
Instead of G.I. Joe.
Instead of G.I. Joe. Well, he didn't have G.I. Joe guys. Yeah. He had Hulk Hogan and Roddy
Love
Piper.
That.
Yeah.
So beyond that, like, he had multiple phases, and he like reinvented wrestling multiple times, or at least he was the face of the reinvention of wrestling multiple times, from being the Hulkster in the 80s to then turning heel, being perhaps the most famous heel turn of all time in the 90s when he joined the NWO and turned his back on WCW, joining ranks with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, of which now Scott Hall has passed on too, and only Kevin Nash is still alive. He then, you know, after the WWE or the WWF at the time beat WCW, he came back later and had one of the most famous WrestleMania matches of all time with The Rock at WrestleMania 18. People still talk about that match to this day because it had nothing to do with the wrestling and everything to do with the crowd reaction. Hulk Hogan was supposed to be the bad guy in that match, but was getting such a positive crowd reaction that, you know, that scene of them from before the match even starts where they're just staring at each other, like, lives on in infamy to a lot of people. And after wrestling, he then had a reality show, kind of like we were talking about with Ozzy Osbourne. You know, that's what you did at that time period when you've had two careers. You go into your third, which is like reality television, and then before you know it, we're at the Gawker controversy,
thing was
where
wild.
He destroyed an entire company, but was also outed saying racist comments, which then followed him to the end of his career.
Well, he lived through the rise and then the fall of cancel culture and defeated it.
So one of the
only A-list celebrities that like ever came out for Trump.
Yeah. One of the most interesting things about that is, like, so after the Gawker controversy started and his racist comments were revealed, he was like stripped of his WWE Hall of Fame, which he was inducted into in 2005. He was stripped of it in 2015, and then they like reinstated him into the Hall of Fame into 2018, like at the height of when it was all getting really, really bad. And then he was inducted again in 2020 as a member of the NWO, and it's kind of crazy how he kind of lived through that whole time period. And then a lot of people are upset because his last appearance on WWE television, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, was like, he got booed really bad because it was like at the Netflix premiere of Raw, and they were in like California, and he got booed off stage because he never outlived his comments, you know, his racist comments. A lot of wrestlers held it against him. You know, he was a controversial figure in wrestling.
All these people are going to pretend they never said the N-word before.
He was a controversial. I'm not leaving out. Somebody says he's leaving out the sex tape scandal. No, the sex tape scandal worked in his favor because it was a gross invasion of his privacy. Even though he was doing something awful, he was like having sex with like his friend's wife. Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, but that sex tape was what led to the destruction of Gawker as a company because he sued them for his invasion of privacy and all that stuff. He is an extremely controversial person. Even when he came back to wrestling, I don't remember what he said, but I remember when it happened. Like, he said something in the locker room where he was trying to make amends, and it came off so badly that they still hated him afterwards. And he was seen as an attention hog in that he needed to be the top of the business. He's known for his colorful interpretation of the past and making up stories, but to deny the impact that he had on the wrestling business and pop culture would be a lie. It would.
Yeah, and we were just talking about this on Tuesday when we found out about Ozzy Osbourne's death, how this class of celebrity is dying off and not getting replaced with a new generation of people who will have a similar or even fraction of the impact culturally.
Yeah, they can't have anyone coming up now can't have that kind of impact because there is no platform that everyone looks at.
Yeah, it's all fragmented now.
Yeah.
And the celebrities that are rising now are people that the average Joe on the street has never heard of and probably won't hear of.
Right, and everyone has their own independent fan base.
Yes.
And there might be crossover and like fans are friends and they talk about it, but there's not like, we were talking about this the other night on Timcast with, was it Tim? Somewhere. Anyway, I was talking about this the other day with regard to The Cosby Show. Might have just been two random friends, but everyone watched The Cosby Show. Everyone showed up the next day at school having watched The Cosby Show.
Yeah.
It was like, it was essential viewing.
Did you see Bill Cosby like shared his thoughts on the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner? And I'm just imagining his family's like, could you like stay out of it? Like,
I don't
thanks,
know.
but
Malcolm Jamal Warner, like he stood up for Bill Cosby. He wasn't like, he didn't come out with the cancel mob.
wait, was he one of those like, well, he was always nice to me?
I mean, wasn't Bill Cosby like maybe one of the only Me Too cases that even the critics of Me Too were like, okay, like valid.
Yeah, I never looked all the way into it, you know, but
Sounded legit to me, but
yeah.
I don't know. I never looked into it either.
I never looked into it all
But
the way.
so the other thing is like, look, we have now, as we just mentioned, so there was Malcolm Jamal Warner, there was of course Ozzy Osbourne, and now of course there is Hulk Hogan. And it got me to, because this was somebody just yesterday, somebody here at work, might have been Jessica, like somebody mentioned like who's going to be the third one. The deaths always come in threes. And I was like, well, the news cycle's so fast anyways, maybe we won't even know. And then literally the next day. And look, there's a lot of, like a shocking amount of examples of this over time. I was looking through this one.
So in 2020, July 2020, Kelly Preston, Naya Rivera, and Regis Philbin.
Yep. And then
Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, Jackson Odell, June 2018. The former two aforementioned celebrities are rumored to be trafficking whistleblowers, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yep.
And then
Prince, China, and Doris Roberts in April of 2016. I remember that one. Tony Gwynn, Casey Kasem, and Ruby Dee. Burt Young, Richard Roundtree, and Matthew Perry. This was in October of 2023. Elmore Leonard, Lee Thompson Young, and Lisa Robin Kelly. I remember I remember Lee Thompson Young and Elmore Leonard. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
I'll cut this out later.
Little tonally inappropriate.
We're always tonally inappropriate. It happens. Yep. Elmore Leonard was an author, and Lee Thompson Young was an actor, who I remember. But the point is people remember this. Michael Jackson, Farrah Fawcett, and Ed McMahon. Those are all names that everybody knows.
This is another from 2023. Jane Birkin, Tony Bennett, and Sinead O'Connor.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of examples.
Yeah, I mean, this morning I was talking to people about it, and it was like, why did this have to happen? And I was like, because it's threes.
Yeah.
Because death comes in threes.
It was just funny because like CBS wrote an article in 2023 where they were like asking therapists like psychologists like why this is, and they pointed out like one of the things they pointed out was like your brain is trained to recognize patterns, kind of like how you recognize the clock every time it's 11:11, but you never remember it if it's 11:12. There was a skate video growing up that was very popular called 11:31, and now I notice 11:31 all the time. Like since that day, like it's actually kind of spooky because your brain picks up on it.
It says if it feels like there's something way back in human history that may have started this whole thing, the belief that death comes in threes. It's just natural for people to look for patterns. One thing happens by accident, a second thing happens by chance. If you see it happening 3 times, it establishes a pattern. But in the United States alone, One person dies every 11 seconds, according to the census. In that same time span, about 20 people will have died worldwide. There's no relationship between these 3 deaths. There's no reason why they're connected at all. It's random data in which we see a pattern. It's called apophenia?
Yeah.
The practice of finding a pattern in random data.
So, that's in human beings are trained to recognize patterns because it's part of our evolutionary survival.
Yeah, it sure is.
So it's
Patterns on weird spiders.
Maybe this is magical thinking. I just think that the pattern is real. I'm not going to accept the idea that it's like some sort of brain trick.
Was Princess Di part of a 3?
I don't know.
I don't
She was
think
90,
she was listed here.
Was she 96 or 97?
It was something like that.
Right.
I remember my mother got very angry because she was like, everyone was sad about Princess Di.
And then your Princess
And she
Di
was
Beanie
like-
Baby wasn't worth anything.
Well, she was like, moms die all the time. Why does everyone care about this one? And I'm like, really?
She was August.
That's an
97.
intentionally dense answer.
Very dense.
Like, it's an intentionally dense answer because what that is like, yes, you're right. People do die all the time, but you're intentionally ignoring the cultural significance of a certain person. Like, well, somebody dies every 20 seconds. Well, why do we care when this person died? Well,
Who cares if the queen dies?
This person reached a lot of people
Right.
and touched a lot of lives, for better or for worse. Well, you can think it's silly, sure.
Wow.
But to deny that it was important to people is just, again, intentionally dense.
Mother
agree with
Teresa.
you.
Mother Teresa died like 5 days after Princess Diana.
Really?
That would only be a 2 though. There are other examples, but not nearly on the same level of celebrity.
Yeah.
I was saying yesterday that I think people write a little bit emotionally overwrought captions on social media about celebrity deaths,
Well, yours
acting
was-
like
Yours seemed to be like, you were like, these people are too young to even have been that.
mainly like Zoomers who act like they're like really upset about David Bowie dying. Like, I just don't believe that person mattered to you.
I was upset about Bowie and Prince when they both
Prince was
died.
a very big one in Minnesota.
Yeah, I
like
bet it was.
As a Minnesotan, like Prince and Kirby Puckett were both very
Well,
big
yeah.
deaths in Minnesota. Because especially like those are people that performed in front of thousands and thousands of people. When you think about it now, like you're performing in front of even more people if you're like a famous person on TikTok. But
Right.
you don't have nearly the cultural significance because even if you're Kirby Puckett and you're playing in front of however many thousand people in the Metrodome, in the World Series you're playing in front of the entire country and it's focused on the news and all of this
different.
stuff.
It's different doing
same with
something
Prince.
live. I mean, it's so different. Like having that communication with your audience from a live setting versus a TikTok setting. Like talking to the chat is great, but it's not the same thing as, feeling being in the same space and all of that kind of stuff.
I can't say that there's celebrities where I've had like that, connected reaction to when they die, but I think that for me that's just a healthy distance from like any of the artists that I like or anything like that. I still remember when Tupac died.
I remember when Jerry Garcia died.
So like it's like I wasn't like it's the end of the world because Tupac died. I was young and at that time I was listening to his music, but if you listen to his music that made perfect sense.
That he was gonna get shot to death.
Him and all of those artists at that time.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's a dense answer to be like, why does anybody care? It's like, well, if nobody if you can't care about somebody who affected millions of people because other people care, and suddenly that makes it uncool.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that I've had that reaction to a ton of people, but everybody finds. I'm still shocked how many people talk about how a celebrity, usually it's music. I guess sometimes movies, but a lot of times it's music. It's like I was going through, go through the YouTube comments for any famous song. And somebody's like, I was going through a divorce when this song came out. It meant a lot to me and stuff like that. Art has a way of connecting with you in a way that defies the ability for the rational mind to explain it. You can try to intellectualize it, but it's actually probably deeper into the lizard brain than
I think
it goes.
that's why it's so weird that AI art is being praised so consistently by people, because you have there's no one that is communicating with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't like that the AI conversation seems to be splitting across partisan lines where seemingly the right wing is
like pro AI.
Pro AI.
I mean,
I don't
that
like
has
that.
something to do with JD Vance, you know, and
Pro-business.
Peter Thiel
Yeah.
and Palantir, and you know all of
Yeah.
the seriously creepy tech
all
bros.
of which you should be deeply suspicious of.
Deeply suspicious.
This was
But like the
always gonna
creepiest
happen.
of the tech bros,
Yeah.
have joined the conservative
The MAGA
side for now.
coalition,
Yeah,
at least
you know
last
they
year.
feel like that's where their bread is buttered.
Mm-hmm.
But they are the creepiest ones. Like JD Vance last night was talking about, and there, you know, there are some key things. But JD Vance was talking about how it's important to automate agriculture so that we don't need illegal farmhands, illegal immigrant farmhands, or guest worker programs for that. And Trump yesterday signed like 3 big executive orders on AI, one of which essentially requires AI programs that are like creating these large language models to also train on more nonpartisan, politically neutral, and conservative content.
Okay.
Which is interesting, but at the same time, is that going to get us to a neutral? I don't think it is. I don't think there is a neutral. I think there's just perhaps some kind of balance.
I might have heard something wrong, but I believe there was part of the big beautiful bill that was an AI or it was actually like anti-AI regulation, basically like a 10-year period where there cannot be any federal regulation of AI.
Really? Well, that's sort of in conflict with these executive orders.
I don't know if that went through.
Although the executive orders were about government. So government is not going to use any AI that is like woke AI.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you have the DOD signed a massive contract with like Grok for government.
What?
Yeah. Like billions of dollars, Grok for government, for
I
the
don't
Department
like
of
that.
Defense. I don't like it either.
No.
Well, on that depressing note, let's move on.
Yes. Uber has just introduced a new and controversial update to their app for both drivers and riders, basically allowing women to lease rides from female drivers or for female drivers to prefer taking female riders. It's on both sides, and this is going to start next month in LA, San Francisco, and Detroit. They also added the caveat that users are not guaranteed their preference, but
you
their
can make
odds
the
will
request.
increase. So I think that's probably because only 1 in 5 Uber drivers in the US is female. Your chances of getting a female driver are just going to be lower regardless.
So 20 here from Shane H. Wilder says, weird facts about deaths coming in threes. It's traced from the Appalachian region tied to the Trinity. This is also a tie to the belief that someone dies 3 times: bodily death, burial, and when no one is left to remember them.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
They didn't list that as an explanation in the article you sent me.
Yep.
That adds some more depth to it. But yeah, Uber has said they cannot guarantee users will be matched with females while using the feature. And they also don't guarantee that the driver or rider that you find will identify as a woman. So obviously, there are a myriad of ways that this feature could backfire on Uber and their customers. Some of them are obviously because, you know, if you identify as female or if you change your license, which is the criteria for this, to identify as female, you might just get a male driver. Or if you have, if you're one of the female drivers who wants to have female customers, you're likely to find a man who identifies as a woman more likely. Like, you know, I'm just thinking of, you know, Ezra Miller, right? Requesting a female cop to arrest him because he's non-binary, transgender. Those types are going to jump on this.
He wanted to force the women to touch him.
Yes, if you're a man who identifies as a woman on his government ID, you can request a female driver, which I think puts those drivers in more danger than they would otherwise, even though this is a feature that's being sold as a safety accessory to the app for women. It might actually work in the opposite direction. And also it could lead to longer wait times. It'll be more expensive as well because you're adding a preference that would go along with like Uber Black,
It'll
Uber
be
Comfort.
like Uber female.
Yeah.
So like some big Amazonian
They
queen.
could just start their own one, like have an app called Girl Boss, and it's literally just a female-only driving
This
app.
is ominous. Please be mindful that the Uber community is remarkably diverse, including people of all gender identities and expressions. Some women users may not express their gender or appear in a way that matches your perception of femininity.
This sounds like it would be worse than the existing situation where you can just cancel a ride when the person looks creepy.
Have you had an Uber horror story?
An Uber horror story? No, I did have one, but it wasn't really like a horror story. It was just really aggravating. I was trying to go from Manhattan to South Brooklyn, and the driver took me through Queens, which if you like, here's Manhattan, here's where I was going, here's Queens. So he took me like all this way, and I was like, what are you doing? You're taking me 40 minutes out of the way. No, miss, I am taking you the way the app is telling me. And I'm like, no, that's bullshit. Like, take me the appropriate way. You have to go the way I tell you. Which in New York City, if you're a cabbie and your passenger says go this way, take this route, like that's the law. You have to take them that route. And so he wouldn't, and I kind of freaked out because I was like, where even are we? We're in this weird place. We're very far from my home. It's an extra 40 minutes out of 40 minutes out of the way. And that went badly. But I never like had some weird like.
But it wasn't because he was like
weird sex thing
trying to kidnap you or something.
I don't know. I mean, at a certain point, like if he had been trying to kidnap me, he gave that up because I was a crazy person.
Right. Like
I lost it.
As soon as you start the confrontation, they're like, okay, this one is going to be trouble.
Right. No,
I
lost it.
Yeah, we have a 20 from Isaac Cervantes III. But what is a woman even?
That's exactly
probably
the
late to the show. Yeah, that is a question that Uber apparently can't answer either.
I bet they won't answer because also aren't they based in California?
Probably. I mean, it's a tech
I believe
company.
so.
Yeah.
What was the one like last year that was for plane seats? Wasn't there also one for plane
one of
seats?
the airlines. It might have been United. I think we did talk about
Spirit
it.
Airlines.
And you can request to sit next to a female or just females in your aisle.
If you're a woman.
That's creepy.
As a woman, yeah.
As a woman,
But that's
you
also
can.
creepy.
For like,
I mean, if you're
women-
like, you know, some guy and you decide that you're a woman now, like suddenly.
it obviously can be misused in the exact same way.
Yeah.
But I do understand it. Like, I can't say that it's outrageous for women to desire a feature like this. It's just not going to work in its execution because we're not able to define what a woman is. And then I saw this comment from their VP of operations in the US and Canada. It's about giving women more choice, more control, and more comfort when they ride and drive. The product is really popular whenever we're able to launch it. Our expectation is it's going to be just as popular in the US, both with drivers and prospective drivers. They want to also attract more females to sign up for Uber as drivers
to drive, yeah.
with this
I
feature.
see.
And they also mentioned that the first introduction of the feature was in Saudi Arabia to mark the decision for women to be able to drive.
What if they introduced?
That makes sense.
What if they introduced Uber Safe and it was just men drivers?
Like, I've only had, actually that's not true. I've had 2 Ubers that drove like crazy people. One was a man and one was a woman. So I don't really have a sample size for that, but
I've had crazy
what was
male
it?
Uber drivers. They drive too fast. They like do weird passing things. They
Was it Michael Knowles
a
who
lot.
said like, can a guy choose a guy driver just because he doesn't want to have a woman driving him around?
yeah. They also mention, unlike Lyft's women matching program, which I assume Uber introduced this to copycat Lyft that already did it. The Lyft program includes non-binary users, whatever the hell that means. And Uber's product, alternatively, is solely for those with commonly identifiable names on the side of the riders, or those who identify as female in the app, and then they look at the gender identification on the license for the drivers. The company has had a couple of conversations with LGBTQ organizations and concluded this is not quite the right way to serve the non-binary population right now. So I don't know. if they're gonna get like canceled for not being inclusive enough.
I wonder what the gender breakdown of the helicopter pilots for like Uber helicopter are.
Oh, I forgot about
Remember
Uber
Uber helicopter?
helicopter.
There's
Is that still
Uber
a thing?
helicopter.
Uber helicopter,
I would
yeah.
literally never, ever, ever get into some rando person's helicopter.
I feel like if you're rich enough to use Uber helicopter,
You can just get a
charter
helicopter,
one
yeah.
the normal way.
I think that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's called Uber Copter.
Okay.
In New York, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern for trips between Manhattan below 110th Street and JFK Airport. Users can book through their Uber app, selecting pickup and drop-off locations. I mean, I imagine that like, is there a part like where you get into the upper echelons of society? Like, Tim flies private. I'm assuming he doesn't do that on an app. I'm assuming somebody has to make a phone call to somebody on the other end of the line.
Yes.
So Uber's just like, you know what? You've got the money. What if you don't want to talk to somebody?
So I'm curious, as a man, what is your take on a feature like this? Do you think that this villainizes men?
A
lot of responses from men were saying that this is like villainizing men in an unfair light.
Pragmatically, I say give them the option to do so. It's not like they're guaranteeing it, and I can already see 30 problems with this that make it like not pragmatic anyways. It's going to fail in spectacular fashion, or at least it's not going to perform the way they want to. Like this, like I guess maybe it is a privilege as a dude where I can just call for an Uber, and the most I have to worry about is that he's going to not shut up.
Everyone knows you have to check the license plate, and I always get in on the side that is backseat opposite the driver instead of behind. Because then I'm the furthest away.
Who the hell gets
visibly,
behind the driver? And
I'm watching the phone more easily, and I can keep them within like reaching distance if I need to like attack them.
It is discriminatory.
I will get behind the driver because
okay.
crash stats show that the driver's side gets less impact because the driver will like protect themselves.
Okay, maybe I should switch my strategy there.
No,
but
just don't sit in the middle.
I just want to have a good eye view of the driver and their phone directions. But I agree with this one take in the responses. When it comes to this, it means that society is falling apart. That's what it is, right? If we have such a low trust society that a feature like this is so in demand, that means, we're falling apart. We're in decline. And like also, you can't request an Uber from an American citizen. You can't request an Uber from someone who's not a foreign migrant. Yeah. I think that would solve a lot more problems than the feature they just introduced.
I mean, when are the hipsters just going to go back to cabs anyways?
Cabs are better.
Cabs, are cabs cheaper?
I think in the city you have to, if you're an Uber, I think you have to be part of the Taxi and Limousine Commission.
So it costs, so it's
they
already
all have, they all have TLC license plates.
That used to cost a fortune too. It used to, I mean, maybe it still does now.
Cabs are a lot.
I know that
that's part of the congestion pricing nonsense.
Oh,
too.
right.
I know that right before,
it makes it so expensive to drive into the city. Yeah.
Like right before Uber became a thing, like a TLC medallion cost like $1 million, and they'd have to get mortgages, like they have to take out loans.
Oh yeah.
To pay for it. But then after Uber, disruptor market, then the price dropped. But then if they were then forced through regulation to have to join the TLC, then the prices probably went right back up to have to get the medallion.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty much the same cost.
Okay.
Is it more dangerous to call an Uber in the city or walk to where you're going? Probably walking.
No, I don't think it's that. I don't think Manhattan for the most part is that dangerous.
I guess it depends on
where
the city
you are and what time it is.
Like if we're talking about San Francisco, which is one of the places they just introduced it, like I'd much rather Uber somewhere than walk.
And out here, it doesn't even really matter because getting an Uber out here is...
Oh, it's a real pain in the ass.
Impossible.
It's like impossible. All right.
Yeah.
You get like the same people showing up and you're like, oh, this bad driver again.
Well, it's or I mean, the other thing is like if you get like your groceries delivered, like Instacart, it's like the same... I used to have my groceries delivered, and it was the same lady every time. Like she had the market. There was like she's like me and two other ladies have like the monopoly on Instacart in this area. All right, what would you guys like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Libby, what do you say?
We have 2 cringes.
Oh.
2.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, then we might as well sandwich it.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
let's do
do the first cringe here. I thought that this one might make some people very, very sad. If you didn't catch this, the cops caught Chuck E. Cheese.
No.
Oh, yeah, I just saw this.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday. And right now,
They took his hat off. He was arrested for credit card fraud.
See, I said like at least he wasn't a danger to the children at
you
Chuck E. Cheese.
Did you see this? Yeah, like this cop's just like, I'm gonna end up in a weird news
no.
segment.
Like what? I guess they
Like,
didn't want to
his
take.
ear is bumping into the door on the way
They
out.
didn't want to take the hat off inside
Ruin
so
it
that
for
the
the
kids
kids.
wouldn't find out.
You know what it is? I
But
thought
he is cuffed. I mean, they cuffed him.
I thought that they were gonna reveal that he was the one who's recycling
Like,
the pizza.
Right?
Yes. Yes. This is what I heard the other day. You told me
I've
this.
been on this
Yes.
for a very long time. If you didn't know, guys, I don't know if any of you frequent Chuck E. Cheese, but you should know Chuck E. Cheese allegedly
We don't want to get sued by Mr. Cheese.
they allegedly recycle pizza slices. So after a family leaves their table and have some extra pizza left over, they take it to the back and like allegedly reheat it and then just kind of fit it into another random pizza. It could be even from like 3 or 4 different pizzas.
I think this is gross because you don't know who's sneezing on those pizzas at the table.
But what's
Free my
more?
boy.
What is more traumatic for the children? Finding out that Chuck E. Cheese isn't a mouse, or seeing Chuck E. Cheese get arrested?
Get arrested.
I think get arrested. I think they know
Yeah.
he's not a mouse.
Arrested for gambling.
Yeah,
Like,
some of these
you
kids
can't
have
tell me
seen
that nobody at Disney, like
mouses.
no Mickey Mouse, has ever not gotten arrested while on
Oh,
duty.
they had
I'm
like
sure
a
it's
huge. They had like a huge. There was like a crazy like pedo child porn thing at Disney a couple years ago.
and then Mickey just
so
gets arrested.
many Disney
Gosh.
employees get arrested for
I've
stuff.
seen,
I think
like-
it's because it's like such a huge employer in the state, but still.
Yeah, it's like just by virtue of
It's
throw
like
a dart.
the
and you
top,
hit-
yeah. it's
I
like
think
the
I
top
remember
employer in the
like
state.
the image of a Goofy at Disney, like smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, we
went
showed that
viral.
on. Yeah.
We have a 20 from Christian Miranda. Death comes in threes. Ozzy, Hulk, and my grandpa. He was 82 and had been letting the... Sorry, I need to scroll back up.
Cancers.
Letting the cancers take him slowly for a couple years now, but he didn't let the cancers take him. He did it himself. R.I.P. Grandpa. I pray you made peace with the Lord.
Rest in peace.
to your
Yeah.
grandpa.
That is very sad.
Sorry for your loss. We have another from Pop Culture Junkie. In GM's Cruise I failed Robotaxi San Francisco experiment, women were a huge part of the customer base because of the safety factor, especially at night. I don't know what experiment you're referring to. Are you guys familiar with this?
What if like is there like a service where like a woman can hire like a big hulking bodyguard dude to walk them from point A to point B since
Yes.
nobody's getting married, so they're like I don't
Yeah,
have a
that's the
husband.
thing.
So
There's a thing called Patrol, which
Okay.
was just launched in LA.
oh, so it's
like
real.
Uber for security.
Right. They like hang out outside your house when you're gone, or if your
It's like-
kids come home from school.
It's like those memes of a person who's like, for $100, I'll show up to your funeral in an all black suit and say, "We love you, boss," and then leave so that you look like you had something cool going on.
Yeah.
Like I'd sign up for that. Or the guy who's like for $100, like I'll come and fake harass your girl and let you beat me up.
I'm
so that
pretty
you-
sure there are women who hire like fake boyfriends to accompany or fake husbands to accompany them on travel to like countries that are more dangerous for women.
That used to be a whole thing. You would
That's-
have a paid companion. I know this from
Sad.
Agatha Christie novels because there's always a paid companion. Actually,
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Hold please.
Sorry.
Chuck E. Cheese, man.
Sorry, Libby.
It was by the way,
Finish
if
that-
they were wondering,
finish
it
that
was
thought.
credit card fraud that Chuck E. Cheese was arrested for. He didn't do anything
No.
untoward with the kids,
No.
and he didn't. As far as we know, there's no evidence of him recycling your pizza. Continue.
Sorry.
oh no, there's this great book called Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. It was also a movie. It's an old movie, but the main character is a paid companion
Oh.
to a rich lady as they're traveling around Monaco, I think. Monte Carlo, one of those, until she meets Maxim de Winter and becomes his bride. It's a fascinating book. It's really spectacular. If you're interested in any kind of like gothic, horror / romance, This is a good one.
Interesting.
All right.
So good.
Let's do cute of the day, and then we'll go back through to the other cringe.
Okay.
All right, here we go. This one's from Dat Boy Jakey.
Okay.
This is Wiggles. She loves to cuddle and bark at dogs or any animal on TV.
Very cute.
That is a very cute dog. That is a very cute dog.
Love it.
All right. All right, let's do cringe of the day. Remember, guys, if you want to submit your pets for cute of the day, tag me on X with a picture, not a video, a picture of your pets using the hashtag PCCPets. That is the best way to get them featured
Okay,
there.
just warning you, this is worse than the last cringe.
Yes.
And it has the same audio, actually.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person.
This is just
Nothing beats
in a public fountain.
Where is this?
Looks like it's in New York.
This looks like Washington Square. Looks
They-
like Washington Square fountain.
They just,
holiday.
Introduced like a public pool in Central Park, didn't they?
I don't. Is it in Central Park?
Or is it not? Is it somewhere else
I've
in New
seen
York?
so many things about pools, and I remember when my son was little, and I'd be like, I'd take him to the. I'm thinking to myself, I will take him to the pool, and then I look at it, and there's so many rules, and it's so filled with pee, and you're just like, I can't do this. They have very specific rules about New York City pools. You can't wear any colors at all because they're worried about like gang stuff.
Oh,
You can't bring anything. You can like bring a towel. That's pretty much it. You have to put your stuff in lockers. It's super strict. And it looks kind of scary.
But they introduced like a public pool like in the middle of the city. I just saw people posting about it. And now there are lines, like hundreds of people waiting to get in because they have a capacity. And then inside people are probably like doing stuff like that guy was.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're done with all that.
I think better is like there's this pass you can get to hang out at hotel pools.
Oh, nice. I would take that.
And I feel like that's a better deal in New
Yeah.
York if you're like just a person who wants a cocktail and a lounger. And
I wish that were a
little
thing
pool time.
here. I could find a hotel pool. I would
It is.
definitely use.
It's in lots of places.
Nice.
I'm like planning to investigate this further, but I've only recently
Report
discovered
back.
it on
Yeah, let me know
Instagram,
what you
and it looks
find.
amazing. Some of them are like $25, some of them are $45, and it's like, sure,
Yeah,
for the
why the
whole
hell
day,
not?
perfect.
All right. Let's get started.
Okay. Sydney Sweeney just unveiled a campaign that she did with American Eagle promoting their denim, and the internet is ablaze with reactions. And they're basically saying this is a sign of the official defeat of wokeness, specifically in advertising campaigns. They definitely included a heavy focus on her jeans.
Yes. Let's watch this video here, guys. Here we go. Let's go full screen.
This monologue that they wrote for her is just so ridiculous.
I'm sorry. Before we watch this, my favorite thing about her is that she doesn't enunciate well. For an actress, her tone is kind of soft. She doesn't hit the syllables a lot of the time. It seems like a lot of the words run together. I love that it just doesn't matter.
Lana Del Rey does the same thing, actually.
Let's watch this video. Here we go.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
You see what I did there, right?
Okay.
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 I like that chair, honestly.
And then the second ad that we're going to show you is even crazier.
Yes, we can go to this screen here. Here we go.
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, eyes up here.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
Okay, so here's the thing. Before we get into the rest of it here, you asked why she is different than you said like I made some joke because there was a
Okay, so there's this viral post going around that says like all of right-wing discourse is just a picture of a woman with her huge honkers, and they say this is what they took from us or
We're
whatever.
going to talk about that tomorrow too.
We'll talk about that at another time. But I just said like, I don't really get that because I feel like there are just titties everywhere. There are tits no matter where you look. Every pair of tits that I see is one that I'm seeing against my will. It's obviously in pornography, but it's also in mainstream TV shows. It's also in movies. It's on OnlyFans. It's on TikTok. It's on Instagram. It's on X. It's everywhere you look is tits and ass all over the place. And I'm just like, is there a shortage of this that I wasn't aware of? So why is it that, Sydney Sweeney showing her cleavage is so titillating in an age where tits are literally everywhere?
Okay, so my hypothesis is more the fact that in current year, there is sex-positive feminism, like, say, a Katy Perry, which is now frowned upon and looked at negatively by society. But what you see here, after she gets done saying the line, "My eyes are up here," she grins. It's not saying it in a derogatory way to anyone, and it's been a long time since they've seen that approach to sexuality between men and women.
Well, and also it's a joke because she just said "my body" something.
Correct.
And then so the camera looks at her body, and then she says, "Don't look at the thing I just mentioned."
There is a lot of discourse that would be, "Hey, my eyes are up here," and it would be actual rabid feminists saying, and that is
okay.
What you're doing is wrong. You should ignore your biological imperative. Yet I should be able to put them out in public.
Okay,
but
yes.
You're bad for looking at them. She is
Right.
taking that same concept and going back to what it would have been in the 2010s, or I guess earlier even than the 2010s, which is that they do it, they know they're doing it, and they're giving you the wink and the nod because they're not taking it as seriously as a feminist who wants to both do it and tell you you're wrong for looking.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, and I actually agree with you. I don't think that the focus is actually Sydney Sweeney's tits. I actually don't think that that's like the focal point of the marketing.
No, it's not. But the joke was that she used the line, "My
I know,
eyes are up
but
here."
I'm literally saying like her tits are not the marketing campaign. It's the tone that they're doing it, and her having this, affable personality, not having this like shaming demeanor. But I just don't understand like what's so great about women inviting men to look at their tits with a smile. Like, I just don't really understand why that's something to celebrate. I don't think women should invite men to stare at their tits.
Oh, well, I think you're seeing
regardless of whether they're doing so with a smile.
You're seeing a return to people from the late 90s and early 2000s who have now been lumped into like the America First MAGA coalition, who are not conservative at all, who took this viewpoint in the 90s and 2000s, and their views on these things never changed. What changed was society suddenly went very, very different the other direction from, I guess, 2016 to, I guess, now 20.
You had like far left progressives believing that they were libertine but actually being extremely puritanical.
Yeah.
And so the libertine is sort of taking back over a little bit.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Like what you're seeing is just a return to...
It is interesting, though, that like in the jeans ad, Sydney Sweeney's actually wearing the jeans. Because we used to have these ads that were for jeans, and there were like, no, you couldn't see the jeans in the ad. All you could see was like the butt or the boobs or whatever. And I remember being in a subway station with my son, and he was little, and he goes, "Mom, is that..." there was a jeans ad, right? And it was two people kissing, and then some blurry background.
Okay.
And like you couldn't see jeans. And I said to my son, I was like, "What do you think that's an ad for?" And he goes, "Kissing?" And I was like, "No, it's for jeans." And he goes, "What? Where's the jeans? Where's the jeans?" It was like,
there's still an ad that sits in my brain. Do you ever have like those commercials or something maybe you saw when you were younger that just they burrow deep into your brain?
Some of them you think of every day, and you're like, make it stop.
There was like a Levi's ad in the late 90s or early 2000s for the fifth pocket in your jeans.
Okay.
Where it was like a woman who's having an affair with like a pool boy who gives him a key to the house and he sticks it in the fifth pocket and he gets searched by security. I guess it kind of connects to jeans. So they're saying like, if you want to have an affair with like your boss, you better buy our jeans. But I still think about that ad sometimes to this day.
Yeah.
I guess what I said to you off air, Brett, still applies. I just realized today that I'm a 90s conservative minus the war
Yeah.
part.
Oh, like Newt Gingrich, like the Christian Coalition.
Yeah, like I'm that person. So I just don't relate to the majority of these self-proclaimed conservatives who are actually libs. And that's why they think it's like something to celebrate when, like, you know, we're getting tits in ads.
And my point to you earlier was that people like me, who would never call themselves conservative, are not conservative, have been lumped in with conservatives, and I'm called that despite the fact that I don't have...
Maybe just because you're contrarian.
Yes, I guess I'll take it. I don't think of myself as a contrarian. I have my own views.
See, look at that. Look at how contrary that was.
Me and Mary disagree on plenty of things, but we agree on some stuff too. But I would never be lumped into the label of conservative, mainly because now it just seems like that's a way for you to get just dragged down a peg as everyone does their purity spiral and purity tests. Everyone's like, well, actually, you said this one time, therefore you're not this. I think the labels in general are unhelpful. But you do fit more into the mold of, you know, if it was the 90s, you'd be telling your kids no Harry Potter.
I just think there's a false dichotomy between woke and whatever we just watched. I think it's perfectly possible to incorporate beauty and celebrate beauty and femininity in advertising in a way that actually does compel people to buy products and actually works without this lowbrow, like, kind of pornographic tone.
We had the other clip too.
Like, would you disagree with that? I want to know what you guys think.
You would call this tone a little porny?
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, especially because Sydney Sweeney has literally basically done porn. Like,
really? I don't know anything about her.
Not on, you know, a porn website, but I mean, if you watch Euphoria, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I never watched that.
She's literally just naked on TV. And I'm just saying, like, we see tits, like, literally nonstop. I would actually find it refreshing to not see tits.
I remember when it was like, when NYPD Blue was this big show, and it was like this sort of like a cop show, but also a little bit of a soap opera. And there was an episode when you saw a man's butt, and it was like this whole big, it was celebrated, if you will.
And like I said, when I watch Batman vs. Superman, I'm like, why am I looking at Bruce Wayne's ass?
Yeah,
I don't want to look at Bruce Wayne's ass.
You never want to see
Okay,
it.
so...
But I think that the whole notion of celebrating all of these things, like, I'm tired of celebrating stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, go exist.
I didn't see that ad.
And I don't need to applaud literally anything that you're doing at any point.
I just mean, we can see ads that feature aspirational beauty standards without leaning into a direction that is just coarsening the culture and sexualizing everything unnecessarily.
I guess I didn't see it that way, but again, like we have different views on this stuff. There's a third ad though, anyway.
Yes,
so we got this one.
There's one
as
like
well.
featuring her working on a car, which I believe at some point or another we caught wind Sydney Sweeney is into, like, working on cars.
That was
I guess.
apparently part of the lore before she got famous.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm. The jeans look
Sydney
bad.
Sweeney.
I'm gonna say
They're
it.
super baggy. I wanted to mention that. Yeah.
That's a problem.
That's my hottest take. Is like I'm just like, why are all the women's jeans baggy?
I will say that I really like the design of this stuff. That's a great car.
At least she drove the car.
The car is great. The chair was great in the other one.
Oh, yeah, like
I like the
aesthetically,
minimalist aesthetics. But yeah, I'm not crazy about the jeans. I don't like the boyfriend jeans because I think the other word for that is frumpy.
Yeah.
Like, have something that looks nice. The first pair of jeans she was wearing, like, I guess these are the jeans you wear to work on your car, right? Because you're not supposed to have other pants. But the first pair of jeans, also, they looked very, like, they were sort of like low cut, tight at the top, flare at the bottom. You know, so are we bringing that back? Do we have to?
America will never be thin enough again for low cut to come back.
I agree with that. Like, now it's just you're hanging out over the top.
Yeah, it's just like, if this whole thing is about Sydney Sweeney's hot bod, like, we're not seeing it because she's wearing baggy jeans.
It's not about her.
She
hot
had the
bod.
tank top though.
Yeah, I
You know?
guess that makes up for
It's
it.
about what her demeanor represents, which is a return to an inviting form of sex positive feminism that doesn't shame men for looking.
But I
didn't
hate
see a lot
sex
of
positive
feminism in this. I didn't see a lot of
Why would we
feminism in this.
celebrate sex positive feminism?
Sex positive is just it's basically like sluttiness, right?
That's
It's
why
just
I don't
slutty.
understand like the appeal to conservatives. One of the responses said, not to be a total degenerate, but obviously America is back.
There was,
What?
and they did compare the two ads between 2019 and
Yes.
2025 to let you know just how much things have changed.
That was 2019 with this overweight model with purple hair.
I
And
remember
then
that.
2025.
And look, you can go into any store right now, go into a Target, go into a Walmart. There's a lot of merch. It's like USA, US. I'm like, really? Like, is this regional because of where I live? Because 2 years ago, this wouldn't have been out there, even for 4th of July.
2 years ago, Target was selling satanic designs for kids.
All that stuff tells
On
me is
fanny
that
packs and
capitalism
stuff.
is what it's always going to be, which is like they're going to listen to the market. And as people said, we don't want satanic designs for kids. And the culture says, you know, whether you want to say the judgment for that is because of the election of Donald Trump again, whatever, that a certain amount of love for your country is back. The capitalist business is going to be like, okay, let's get in on that. Let's make merch that, you know, like the tie-dye, this and that, the rainbow stuff is out. We're going to go put this stuff in the stores. And it's on the shelves at the Targets and the Walmarts, the big business stores.
This has proven incredibly successful for American Eagle, whose stock is up over 25% in hours. And then they also estimated that the ad campaign created $416 million in value for American Eagle in after-hours trading.
She's going to have to put that on her resume.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Crazy. And then also following her ad campaign with Dr. Squatch, they were purchased by Unilever 1 month later
Yep. I did
for $1.5 billion.
dollars. So I guess she can command a very high payday for doing ads.
Yeah. I love this tweet. It says, so a bunch of the guys on FinTwit got super bulled up on American Eagle after Sydney Sweeney became their new spokesperson. Now the stock is ripping after hours. Haha. That's actually pretty undervalued. And it's just the guy who's over explaining to somebody. Poor Liv Morgan became a meme after that.
Like grabbing the back of her
Yeah,
neck.
you don't understand, man. We're bullish on Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, I just I'm a conservative fuddy-duddy, and I don't think that women should invite men to stare at their tits. I think that that's trashy.
Sex sells.
It
has
is a
been
little trashy.
I don't think women
Sure.
should do that. It's
But I
just-
mean, is American Eagle a classy brand?
I wouldn't say they were, highbrow, but it was always just, middle of the road
It's like
cost,
mid-mall brand.
casual,
It's a mall brand.
clothes. I mean, I also saw Hollister has launched a 2000s collection recently, which
I saw that
is
this morning.
basically just a bunch of redesigns of their most famous pieces from the 2000s that like millennials wore in high school. And Zoomers are absolutely obsessed with it. I'm probably going to buy some of that stuff. And I was feeling a little cheated because you just know that they're just reselling versions of their old stuff in way lower quality that's all made of plastic and bullshit that's going to fall apart in a year or after like a wash. So we're
I
not
hate when
really
that
getting...
happens. That happens with like H&M clothes. Literally falls apart after
We're not
a
getting the
wash.
OG stuff back.
I mean, H&M.
Well, we're not getting quality back is the issue.
The H&M skinny jeans used to actually be really, really well made back in the
Well,
day.
that's one of the things Hollister has brought back into their 2000s collection is actually like form-fitting, low-rise bootcut jeans. Not skinny jeans yet. Maybe that will take a while to cycle
I hope
back.
we don't end up back with the skinny jeans. The problem with the skinny jeans is like, I can see the silhouette. It sort of works with some things. You have to have the right shoes and whatever. But like, skinny jeans are so uncomfy to wear.
I have a pair that actually fits me now, and I just can't convince myself to actually
Mary
wear
just
them.
doesn't
The
wear
issue I have
jeans.
is like when you try and bend your knees, there's like not enough give in the fabric to bend your knees. And if there is enough give, then when you're walking around, you have like baggy knees on
Yeah.
your skinny jeans. It just
Yeah.
never looks good.
I just don't wear pants.
Yeah.
I only wear like maybe shorts sometimes, mostly skirts and dresses. But I do think they should have given Sydney Sweeney more flattering jeans.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they just didn't look.
That was a fail.
I'm always like, when I see women in the super baggy jeans, I'm like, why?
Let's just not.
The other thing too is it's like when you see a pair of jeans on Sydney Sweeney and they look bad on her, you're like, well, they're gonna look really bad on me.
Exactly.
Like I
right.
can't. I don't have the butt or the boobs to pull that off.
Exactly.
Clearly, so I'm not wearing your jumpsuit. Mm-hmm. Plus a jumpsuit. Like, come on, let's be done with the coveralls.
I've been saying.
As we talked about yesterday.
I talked about Anne Hathaway getting put in these coveralls in the new Devil Wears Prada. It's
Oh
just
no,
awful.
that's not
looks
Anna
like a
Wintour
janitor.
at all. Of course she does. Of course she looks like a janitor. So does Dave Chappelle. That's why he wears it.
Such an L.
All right, let's do some super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Thrashing Thursday, Brett and Mary. Requiescat in Pace, Hulk Hogan. May he join Macho Man for that great tag team match in the sky."
He's up there with Macho Man and Rowdy Roddy Piper and a lot of other wrestlers that died young, unfortunately.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant.
Oh, hi, Libby. I forgot to read the notes. Mea culpa. Dingus Khan of Gongolia said, "If we lose Ric Flair or The Undertaker anytime soon, I'm going to bed rot until Christmas."
Look, The Undertaker has made the greatest career shift ever to go from being perhaps one of the most atmospheric wrestlers that could ever exist. He's all character, to becoming a YouTuber is just the most incredible journey a person could go on, and I have to believe that he will be doing that for a long time. The Undertaker's great. We can't lose Kane either, because he's still over there being mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Aaron Swain said it was Mangione. Autocorrect just got me. No worries.
Okay,
I still don't know how to pronounce.
So is it Luigi
Luigi's name.
Mangione or Mangione?
Don't-
I always
don't
said
know.
Mangione. I think people said I was wrong.
I haven't heard him say it out loud. I haven't actually heard him say anything.
I think it depends on how recent his family immigrated from Italy.
Yeah.
Yep. Eddie Guerrero. Buff. I thought Buff Bagwell was the one that lost a leg. Yeah, he lost a leg the other day.
Ouch.
So many. Mr. Perfect, Razor Ramon. That was a sad one. There's just so many of them that have died young. I'll be very sad if when Stone Cold goes. Hopefully, many decades in the future, because he was a big part of my childhood. And The Rock he's got the adrenochrome now because he's in Hollywood.
Yeah, he's good.
So he's good.
So does John Cena. Pat the Plumber said, "I had a Hulk Hogan workout cassette when I was a kid. Do those jumping jacks, brother. I still have my rubber wrestlers, Libby."
Oh, nice.
Baron O. Beef Juice said, "We lost Ozzy and Hogan, and I lost my grandmother this week, and I never got the opportunity to tell her she has a great grandchild on the way. Aw, I'm very sorry for your loss." High Voltage 75 said, "Brett, as a Minnesotan, how will you feel when Bob Dylan passes?"
Look,
You're gonna throw a party.
my hatred of Bob Dylan is largely a joke on this channel. I don't listen to his music. I think his music is awful, but I don't hate him as a person. No. I don't know anything about him other than I think that he's, he just talks and it's not all that interesting.
You should have watched the Timothy Chalamet movie.
No, because what if it made me like him?
It might make you a fan.
You know what was terrible, though, is when Bob Dylan's son, who I forget what band he was in, he came out with his band. And Bob Dylan slammed his son's band publicly and said they were not very good, basically.
Wait, though, is that Jacob Dylan, the Wallflowers guy?
Yeah.
Oh, is that his son? There was another super chat about that.
I don't know if it's him, but I remember thinking, I did like you, Bob Dylan. I thought you were a pretty decent songwriter, and now I think you're a shit human being.
He's like, my son's band sucks.
Yeah.
He's part of that pull yourself up by the bootstraps generation. Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to lie to you.
The kid did.
He did suck.
Okay, yeah, well...
No, I mean, the kid did do his own thing.
I would rather listen to the Wallflowers than Bob Dylan, so Bob Dylan is wrong.
Yeah.
As well as a bad musician.
Dingus Khan of Gongolia said, "Brett, do you have the same hate for Jacob Dylan? I actually just saw the Wallflowers in St. Cloud in June."
No, I don't. I would listen to the Wallflowers over Bob Dylan any day.
Pop Culture Junkie said, "Not sure we can execute neutral AI training." Neither am I.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about that either.
Let's hold off on the rest and we will come back.
Okay. So it was just a couple of months ago that on the show we discussed this dating advice app called Are We Dating the Same Guy? And there is a new version of it now available on the App Store that is just called T. And these are both apps marketed to women so that they can, you know, share safety tips, right? If you're meeting up with strangers from dating apps, you'd want to know if there are any predators in the area who might kill you or lock you in their basement. But in reality, these apps are used to spread gossip, destroy reputations, and ruin lives. So these women are sharing information about, you know, is this guy good in bed? Is he cheap on dates? Is he funny? Does he have bad breath? Is he lying about his height on Hinge? All of the normal gossip that you would expect. None of it has anything to do with whether he is a safe individual to be around. And we actually have a sex offender registry for that purpose. So this isn't really fulfilling any demand except for shit talking. T is now the #1 app on the App Store. It's a women-only app where users anonymously share info and warnings about men to spot red flags and get feedback. And when you go to the T website, it says dating safety tools that protect women. So you can find verified green flag men. You can run background checks. That part is probably useful. See if someone is married or if they have any criminal charges. Identify potential catfish. Verify he's not a sex offender. And check for criminal history. Swipe safely, avoid red flags. So they're saying in this tagline, navigating the modern dating scene can be daunting and scary, but with T, you're never alone. Join a community of over 1.6 million women dedicated to empowering each other and get access to a suite of dating tools made just for the FBI girlies. Share experiences and seek advice within a secure, anonymous platform. T is built on trust. Screenshots are blocked, and all members are verified as women.
How?
I don't know how that works.
Wait a second.
Do you have to send like a verified photo
that's
of like the
illegal in
private
places.
parts?
Like in Australia, the Giggle app was taken down by a fella who changed his name to like Ruby Tickle or something like that, and got mad because he wasn't allowed on the women's only Giggle app, and took it to the Supreme Court of Australia, who sided with him.
Okay.
And the founder of the app, who just wanted to like have a women's only app, is forced to pay out all of this money, and it's ludicrous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's
So
possible that there will be men or men who identify as women using
Yeah.
T, or maybe men who want to see if they are featured on here as a red flag. I guarantee nothing positive is being said about any men on T, because if you're enjoying dating a guy, you would have no reason to report back to other women about him.
Except that, like, you could also see how a woman could be in a relationship with someone that she looked up on T and then keeps reporting back clandestinely.
Yeah.
And there's just constantly this wedge between her and the man, because part of what she's doing is enjoying being the center of attention on this app whenever she talks about the guy.
Right. It's a classic female vice.
It's a classic female vice, yeah. And so, like, you know, when you talk to your girlfriends about like some guy you're seeing or whatever, like there's a whole bunch of stuff, and sometimes you report back like, how was it? You know, what did you guys do? Did you end up wearing that dress? Like, whatever it is. And this is that on steroids.
Yeah.
But with strangers, and adding the dopamine effect of social media.
Yeah.
You know, so when you say something bad about this guy, like suddenly you're getting all the flood of attention, which of course is why people are on social media in the first place, is for some kind of attention. And so I think, you know, I think it really like degrades, like if you're on T talking about some guy, you have no good intentions for that relationship. You're not looking for a relationship with that person.
Yeah, right. And I just think, like, whatever happened to talking to your friends at a bar about the guy that you're dating? Like,
They're not going to bars anymore.
Why can't you just talk to your friends about the guy you're dating instead of the internet? It obviously...
But people don't even have that many friends anymore.
Right. I guess that's another problem. But they're just going to this app to, like, get revenge on a guy who ghosted them. Like, this reminded me of the West Elm Caleb story. Do you remember that?
What's that?
This was back in 2022. All of these women on TikTok found out that they were matching with the same guy. West Elm Caleb is his nickname, and he was going on these great dates with them and showing them a great time and then ghosting them afterwards.
Were they all like sleeping with him, or?
I'm guessing yes. So they were all getting.
They probably wouldn't be as upset if
they were all
hadn't...
getting ghosted by the same guy, and then they found out who he was, and they went after him and tried to ruin his life. And I think on a smaller scale, that's what they're attempting to do when they use a supposed safety tool like this app. Or are we dating the same guy? There's also a predecessor that was invented in 2013 called Lulu's, which was an app that was built on Facebook, and it was perfectly allowed on the platform. It eventually was like bought, sold, defunct, but it was never banned on Facebook. And then men tried to create their own version that was for men only, to talk about the women they were dating and give them ratings and everything, called Chicklopedia.
I remember this came up the last time we talked about it. I have the video.
Crazy name.
Yeah, we have a very old advertisement for Chicklopedia to share with all of you. You might recall.
Here we go, bros.
Wikipedia, the first guys-only app that allows you to view, rate, and review women. The first step is logging in with Facebook, but don't worry, it's anonymous and will never post anything to your wall. Scroll through the girls in your life and choose the one you like. You'll be able to see everything about her, from her best and worst features to her rating on anything you might be interested in, from her sense of humor to her performance in the bedroom. If you want to rate her, say how you know her, then rate how she performs across 15 different categories. Maybe she snores or has big feet. Leave a hashtag here. You can also recommend her to a friend if you think he'd like her instead. If you want to see how she compares in your college, state, or even nationally, then you'll be able to see her ranking on leaderboards for every single trade. But Chicklopedia is much more than just a simple rating app. It's also a way to manage your social life. You'll be able to see the rating of all the upcoming events in your life, see what the hottest events are this Friday, then check out the girls attending, and even see how much competition there is, so you can choose more wisely.
Maybe the girl's like a SIG 320 and she just goes off without warning.
So I saw a thread about T on the subreddit r/men's rights, saying the T app must be deleted. This can be used to spread misinformation about you without your knowledge, because the app can only be accessed by women. They're asking people to mass report it on the App Store. And one of the responses said, the issue is that people, women especially, won't see this as an issue until the male version of the app is created. I deserve to know my date's STD history, body count, etc. And that is true, because Chicklopedia was promptly banned on Facebook.
Really, it was banned?
And Lulu, the female version, was allowed to keep going. So that's actually proven.
I like this one that said, this is straight up this is about T. Said, this is straight up demonic. Absolutely no one should be allowed to create public profiles about you to crowdsource your deeply personal information and dating history. Yeah, it seems like everybody's going to crowdsourcing rather than talking to their friends. They're like, I can find a much richer data set if I just commiserate with other people on the internet.
And even if you're a woman who's not on the T app or Are We Dating the Same Guy app, there is now a convention of running to TikTok to tell your dating horror stories.
I hate this, because then you're on a date and you're just like counting up the things that you're going to say later, you know, on the app or
during
whatever.
my Get Ready With Me video.
I hate that.
Which will make me hate it even more if it's a Get
or
Ready
even
With Me
worse,
video.
a lot of women who make dating content on TikTok, they make the video in the middle of the date. They just go to the bathroom and record themselves talking shit about a guy.
No intention of like being, of like looking for a partner. They have no intention of looking for a husband or someone to have children with or any of those things. I think that's crazy, you know. And also, when you put this kind of division between yourself and your, you know, potentially intended, you are cutting yourself off from the possibility that you might fall in love. You know, you're saying already, I'm not going to fall in love with this person because your heart is not open. And so, and also, I guess if you're dating like tons of people, your heart isn't open anyway, because that would be really painful. to constantly be like dating people and have your heart open, and then they're sleeping around and you're sleeping around. Like that just seems like a recipe for a lot of anguish.
Maybe this is why there's no romantic comedies anymore. It's because it's no longer accurate to the real world. Back in the day, the romantic comedy would have somebody who has a series of bad dates but is genuinely looking for love and is earnest and wants that. Now,
like
the lead
Wedding
character
Singer,
of any romantic comedy would be a snarky jerk that nobody could identify with. But the sad thing is like that would be what writing for a real world in 2024 or 2025 would look like. It wouldn't be an earnest person just looking for love, because everybody would be like, ha 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 ha, look at this idiot.
But
thinking they're going to find love in a world of tea apps.
Let's say you did have that story, right? Like you have the story, the the rom-com about that. You would have like this girl in the bathroom, right? You'd open with the girl in the bathroom spilling her guts on TikTok about her date. She'd go out. He would have watched it. You know, you do like all this stuff. But the only way that would work, that the romance story would work and it would be a successful romance story, is if, you know, the guy was, because obviously it would have to be female centered, because that's just how things are at this point in that genre. But the guy would have to find her so captivating and have so much confidence himself that he breaks down those barriers. And like, why would you? Why would you?
Hampered from the beginning, because a big part of a movie is like you have to, if not identify with a character, you have to at least find them likable early on in the movie. Otherwise, it loses you. Like the first thing that loses
that's the issue. That's what I'm saying. Like, why would a guy ever want to break down a barrier like that? Why wouldn't you just move on?
Yeah, I mean that's already been shown in movies before with snarky women that men are just in love with, and everyone's like, why? Like, why?
Just
what is it?
on.
Like one of the things working, and I loved Superman, I did, but one of the things working against Lois was that they were portraying her as kind of annoying in her interview with Clark. Even though it's accurate to the character, even though she's doing her job as a journalist, she's snarky and annoying. And I think they did the smartest thing they could do, which was to release those clips early to kind of inoculate you from how annoying she was in the beginning. Like, since you saw it beforehand, you're like, okay, I see this coming. But after that, I've been like, I hope Lex Luthor just blows her up with a space laser. I hope she falls into a pocket universe.
There are so many reasons why people aren't pairing up as much as they used to, and like it's not just an online perception. That is actually the case. In the numbers, you can see that people are pairing up less and getting married less. But one of the big reasons that people, I think, don't talk about enough is the people who complain the most about being single are oftentimes people who just don't want to be in relationships. Like they say that they want it, but they don't actually want it. They don't want all of the obligations that come with it, the sacrifices, being interested in someone other than themselves, not being selfish anymore.
Because it is sacrifice. It is work. And they think that the idea of having to work for a relationship means that they're not being given everything that they're entitled to.
Yep.
What was I saying earlier? I was like, yeah, like women these days, they're just bending over backwards to forgive themselves for everything. Maybe as a society, both men and women would be a little bit happy, or like society would be a little bit better if we didn't forgive ourselves so quickly for our shortcomings. Maybe a little bit of self-loathing isn't a bad thing because it leads you to introspection.
Well, yeah, because that's shame.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's read some super chats. Christina Lee said, didn't Gianni Versace die the same year as Princess Diana and Mother Teresa?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes,
I don't
earlier.
think a year is. I think they're saying that they happen like right at like one after the other.
Yeah, but it was the same.
Was
year.
Versace the one that was killed by Andrew Cunanan, the spree killer?
I believe so. It
Is
was a
that
murder.
right?
It was a murder.
Versace was murdered, yeah.
Yeah, because Andrew Cunanan was from Minnesota, and that was a very big story.
Weary Traveler said, free my man Charles E. Cheese. Yes, his full name is Charles Entertainment Cheese.
That's
Shane H.
crazy.
Wilder.
I forgot that.
I might have made that up. I don't know. Shane H. Wilder said a
That's
TLC token, but what they don't want, no scrubs. Wait, what? I don't know what that means.
Are we
TLC,
getting back?
like taxi and limousine commission?
Oh,
They're talking about
merged
TLC, the
with
band.
No scrubs.
Right.
Yeah.
The last of my kind said, behind the driver is what protection services do.
Taxis used to have bulletproof glass. I think they might still, between
We're-
the front and the back.
Yeah, to protect the driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weary traveler said private security in a lawless Democrat metropolis. Every day we are becoming a dystopian novel. Yeah, it's also because these people aren't willing to arm themselves. Red Snow said, got a knee brace, standing on business once again. Well,
if you've
I'm
got
glad.
the knee brace, hopefully
Hope
you
you
can
recover
stand better.
soon. Pop Culture Junkie said from 2022 to 2024, GM tested their robo-taxi technology in San Francisco until the city shut them down after numerous accidents and near misses. Yeah, miss me with that. I don't want a cyber cab. I don't want an autonomous Uber.
Yeah, if I'm going to die in a
hate
car
that.
accident from a company, I want a woman driving,
No
not a
thanks.
robot.
I want it to be someone's fault is what I
Yeah.
want.
Like, I want to be able to say, like, well, of course, it was a woman driver.
Yeah.
Like, that you can laugh at. But robot driver, that's your own fault.
Brian Bledsoe said, R.I.P. Hulk Hogan, currently at Comic-Con at the WWE panel. They started with a couple words about him, and one a-hole just had to yell out his displeasure. What, over the racism scandal?
He's just...
Who cares?
And his support of Trump and blah, blah, blah. It's, yeah.
Wildman Beyond said, Sid is becoming the new Brooke Shields with jeans ads. I don't know what Brooke Shields has to do with it.
Was
What
she a
is
guess? Was that Guess?
I don't know.
Who was the one with Mark Wahlberg in the famous ad?
That was Kate Moss.
Kate Moss.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you look at what happened to Brooke Shields as a child star, I wouldn't support that.
Let's hold off on the rest, and we will come back after.
Okay, so everyone is talking about the Gen Z gaze or the Gen Z stare, where you try to interact with a member of Generation Z in a public setting, be it customer service or with a Gen Z customer, and they respond to basically every greeting or question with a blank stare. Like, they act like NPCs who have never engaged in a conversation before because they're so socially inept. And I agree with the people who are saying Gen Z needs an etiquette lesson. I think that this is at times unintentional because they're so poorly socialized. But in other examples, they're doing this intentionally just to be rude and get back at people who they consider to be oppressors,
This person
such as
doesn't
their
need,
bosses or
yeah.
clients in their jobs.
This person doesn't need a lesson because they
Yeah.
already got the lesson. They're just ignoring it.
This article from The Independent by a Gen Z author says the Gen Z stare isn't rude. We're just not going to conform for your comfort. Our communication style was shaped by character limits, subtweets, and voice memos sent from bed. We learned to be blunt and concise because that is what the world we've grown up in demanded.
They're lying because they're like, why did you put a period at the end of that text? Why are you being so mean to me? Like, they're lying. She's either wrong or lying, or he or whoever.
Yeah,
this is.
digital communication isn't the total explanation for what's going on here. I think it's definitely part of it. If you have only been accustomed to interacting with people through a screen, of course, you're not going to be able to conduct yourself in conversations face to face. But I think a lot of this is legitimately spite. And I think it's a lot of resentment and bitterness in Gen Z who feel they don't have to, conform to etiquette standards. They're protesting them actively, consciously. And
They're
I
the
was
Rosa
able to
Parks
surmise
of
that.
douches.
Yes, I was able to surmise that from several examples of Gen Zers on TikTok who are referencing the lingo, the Gen Z stare term. One of them said, Gen Z stare? Yeah, I said good morning with a giant smile and you barked cappuccino at me. Another one said, the Gen Z stare is so rude. You just asked me what's in a mozzarella stick. Another one who works at Walmart said, Gen Z stare, but you just asked me if you could pay for your groceries with a TJ Maxx gift card. Here's the thing. No one is denying that crazy or rude or dumb customers exist, and that's just something you're going to have to deal with in a minimum wage job. But it doesn't entitle you to meet them with either a blank stare or outright rudeness in response.
In the job market that you're currently in, your skill set is not specialized. You know, I was talking to someone the other day about the joke about the WNBA women making the same amount as like high-end Target managers. And somebody's like, by that logic, all Target employees should make more than WNBA players. Says, no, a manager is of a higher skill set than a regular employee. As a regular employee, your job, your skill set is to literally be the person who has to deal with the stupid people.
Oh, another one
That's what you're paid to do.
I remember I worked at
I did that a lot.
Me too.
Yeah.
I worked at a ice cream shop, and I had really short hair, and I was 18, and people would always come in and think that I was a boy. And they'd be like, hello, son, could I have a chocolate ice cream? And I'd be like,
would you correct them or just let it go?
I would usually just stare at them.
Okay.
So you did the Gen Z stare.
Yeah,
you
except
did the
it was-
millennial stare.
Yeah, whatever it is. I would just sort of look at them until they registered.
Oh. Well, they
But
weren't looking that close.
one time I said, sure thing, Papa. That was funny for me.
The point is, that's your job. Like, your job is,
Yes.
because it's not a specialized skill set. It's literally just your ability to take stupidity from people.
to
I
just
have done
do the
that.
thing that you're supposed to do.
I have done that for I did that for many years. I worked at a gas station. I worked at a Target. I worked at several gas stations. And that's part of your job, is that
have to
my
deal
very
with
first
stupid
job was
people.
pushing carts at like a grocery store, which also required you to interact with customers, taking their carts or helping people on the sales floor. And your job is to be polite in the face of stupidity.
Yeah, I mean, that's also something that you should just do regardless in general in the world.
Yes, you
should be a polite, civil person. Another Gen Z employee at a pizza shop gave comment in this article saying, you just asked me if we sell pizza.
You know what you do in that case? You go, yeah. Like, you laugh at how stupid it is.
Of course.
And you, not in a rude way, you just kind of giggle and you say, yes, we do.
Of course we're going to stare. What is there to say when you're being asked inane questions while earning minimum wage?
You are not
This is the
allowed
thing.
to decide what is inane.
You earn minimum wage because your job is inane.
Right.
Like, okay, that's
Also, it's okay to have a starter job. You can't start as the CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
you're not that
You have
important.
to start with a job. Like the trade is you do something stupid and they pay you for it.
And this is the thing.
And then you
even-
get to do things like eat and drive around and go to dinner and rent an
Right. At
At some
apartment.
point, I'm like, when AI takes my job here and they just put AI Brett in this job and I have to go back and work at a Target again, I will then again, I'm sure, at some point in my life have to answer inane questions again.
But they're not just talking about stupid questions or people who are rude. I know from experience approaching Gen Z employees in customer service very politely, with a smile, whatever, greeting them. They do the Gen Z stare when you're nice too. It literally has nothing to do with the customer's behavior. They meet you with this blank stare regardless, and they're acting like it's some small form of like retaliatory protest
yes.
against the system or older people who they perceive to be privileged over them.
Part of it, though, is the same thing with this T app, right? I mean, Gen Z is so connected online to their friends and a bunch of different group chats and whatever social media they're engaged in, that they're constantly there's like a separation between them and the reality in which they're existing, where they can be interacting in a virtual way with people at the same time as they're interacting with you. So you can be thinking about how you're going to say to your friend how stupid this person is in 5 minutes,
Right.
while you're dealing with the person.
Exactly.
And you're existing in a separate space. You're existing both in the virtual space and in the
That's a good
reality
point.
that you're in. And I know my favorite way to exist is to have that kind of dichotomy where you're existing in a separate reality as well as the reality you're in. But for me, it was always either the thing that I'm writing, the story that I'm writing, I'm thinking about that at the same time as I'm doing this. Or, I remember if you're reading a book that's really good, you can walk around in the world of that book while you're forced to exist in reality. And it makes it's like putting a skin over reality,
Yeah.
where you don't entirely have to be extent where you are. But I think it's a lot different when it's a social media situation. But also, I mean, you know, it's a refusal to exist in the time and space where you are. You're always in the other realm.
Well, they're thinking of, right, what they're going to say, you know, over text or over social media about this interaction later on, as if they have some kind of audience watching them at all times.
Yes.
And they think that they're Jim Halpert in The Office when, you know, Michael Scott says something stupid and Jim Halpert looks at the camera, you know, breaks the fourth wall. That's what they think they're doing, as if there's a captive audience watching this interaction.
Right. I think that's a thing. Like, a lot of people think that they are in some sort of movie. They're in some sort of constant TikTok. And the reality is that, you know, we're not in a movie. No one is watching at all. No one cares about what you're doing or what you think. No one cares. You know, like, that's the biggest, I think, misconception that people have, is that, and you grow out of this eventually, but the biggest misconception that people have, I think, when they're growing up is that it matters to other people what they're doing and what they think. And it just, for the most part, doesn't. Nobody cares what you think or what you're doing. They're not watching. The only real things that matter are the personal moments that you have with people, you know, the nice moments that you have with people that you love and care about. And there isn't really anything else of matter or merit, you know, to absorb yourself with.
We do have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. My self-driving car question. Data shows that a world with majority of cars self-driving would result in fewer accidents. Well, okay, like, data based on what? Like, a world that doesn't exist yet. Will we exchange
data from that virtual world that I've created in a simulation?
Will we exchange that for a no one to blame world when there is a fatal accident? Yeah, that is a question that doesn't have an answer yet. I know Tesla doesn't want to take the blame for self-driving cars getting in accidents. But to what we were just talking about, I also wanted to mention that it's not just Gen Zers who are in customer service or minimum wage jobs. It's also when they're the customers, like, interacting with those employees. They're not willing to be polite to people who are doing them a service. And that's shown in this one TikTok that I wanted to show.
This one?
Yeah, it's like the Gen Z customers are just as rude as the Gen Z employees. So it has nothing to do with being obligated to interact with stupid people.
How is everyone tonight? Can I get you started with something to drink? You need a minute?
Looking at each other for
I can
reassurance.
give you a minute. Take your time.
Okay. You have one more you want to show?
Yes, and there's another one that's defending Gen Z.
Hi, welcome in. This is like the jewelry store, right? Okay, great. I got this like 3 years ago and I pulled on it a little hard and it broke. I was just wondering if I can get a new one.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We actually don't have this anymore. We always have new stuff, you know?
No, honey, I got it here.
Damn it! Hold, please.
Thank you.
Hold, please. It's part of the live show. It's what happens.
No one is mad. Why do you think everyone is mad?
They're all gonna laugh at you. They're gonna know.
No.
They're not gonna know.
They're not gonna know.
Okay, here we go.
We don't have it.
Okay, so I'll just exchange it for something else then, since it's not really my fault that it broke.
So actually our return policy is 2 weeks. And if I heard you right, you said 3 years. So like it won't work.
No, honey, I don't know what's not clicking, but I got this.
It's not
here.
clocking with
This
you.
is where I got it.
No, I got that. It's just, do you have the receipt? Maybe we can like work out a discount.
The receipt? Honey, it was 3 years ago. No, I don't have the receipt.
Prior generations would just say, I'm gonna go get a manager.
Well, yeah, and you can also just like answer the person. I think this also has to do with Gen Z's fear of confrontation as well. Like they're not able to be in a contentious interaction with anyone.
Yeah. I agree with what Libby said, which is that nobody's watching and nobody cares, and that's actually comforting. If you ask me, I don't want to live in a world where everybody cares. If anything, it probably makes them more self-conscious and more worried because they think that everybody's watching and everybody cares, but really nobody does, and that's a good thing if you ask me.
When I'm like at a drive-through and they, wordlessly hand you the order, like I don't really feel offended by it. It's not like I'm, hurt that they didn't say hello to me or something. But it definitely makes it stand out when someone is polite and goes out of their way to speak to you and make eye contact. It's like that's something you remember for the rest of the day.
It's like the bare minimum.
Exceptional.
And it's the bare minimum you can do in society is to go out every day and try to be polite to the people that you interact with momentarily.
Yeah, I don't think,
Because the world doesn't need more dickheads.
And you can make your own day better by having that kind of communication with people. You can make other people's day suck less, by just like it being a reasonable human being. Like,
that's what I said. Like, hold the door open for somebody. They'll appreciate it for the most part.
When my grandma was much older, when she was in her like 70s, her outing would be to the grocery store. She would have stuff to do. She had friends that she had been friends with since college that she still had, but like her friends were dying. And she would go to the grocery store to, get her stuff, but also to like kibitz with the cashier. Yep. And if those cashiers were nice, it made her whole day better.
Yeah.
If they like just talked a little bit about the peaches and plums or whatever, it was a better day for my grandma. And why would you be mean to people?
They're also being less honest, which is like the poor interactions that we've had with Gen Z employees tends to be because they're on their phone.
That's another thing.
Which, again, and I always just, because I worked so much retail, so many jobs like that, I will operate under the premise, maybe they're just having a bad day. Even if we know that a lot of the time that isn't true, it's better for my soul to just give them the benefit of the doubt.
Shane H. Wilder said, I got the Gen Z stare at a pizza place after Mass. The dude handed me the pizza. I smiled and said, thank you. They just stared and stormed off. They forgot part of my order. I went to ask for it. They just pointed at the counter. Weird. Like, don't treat people like dogs. And their justification for all of this is like, why should I be kind to people who aren't kind to me? If everyone thought that way, we would live in hell. We would just live in hell.
It's unbelievable narcissism and self-centeredness.
Yep. Okay, let's finish up these super chats. Weary Traveler said, America is back. You can have parlays on MMA fights, and we got blondes with their knockers out and clothing ads. I guess if that's what America means to you. Henry Oria said, Brett, how well do you remember Hogan's match versus Ultimate Warrior in 1990? Do you still watch wrestling today? Mary and Libby, are you two pro wrestling fans? What other sports are you guys into?
I'm into zero sports.
Same. Yeah.
I kind of like gymnastics when the Olympics comes around, and then in the winter I kind of like figure skating and the ski jumpy stuff. I like that. It's sort of fun, but only if the Olympics are on, and it helps that they're not on all the time, so you don't have to actually pay attention.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I like doing some activities, but they're really like, I like skiing.
I like going to baseball games.
That's fun. Yeah, you get a beer. There's like pretzel. That's fun.
Maybe a pretzel even.
Maybe a pretzel.
I do not. First of all, I don't remember. I don't remember that match. Again, I would have been, what did they say, 1990? I'd have been 4. But I do remember, the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, and I do still listen to wrestling podcasts, but I don't like actively watch it anymore. The thing is there's so much wrestling content that's made right now that I've kind of passively followed the news around John Cena's final run and everything that's going on now. I don't follow AEW, but I listen to like Wrestling Soup and I listen to Solomonster Sounds Off, and I used to listen to Don Tony and Kevin Castle before Kevin Castle passed. As for sports, I played hockey and baseball, and I like hockey and baseball because they feel, well, baseball because it's uniquely American. Not uniquely. I know they play baseball in other countries, but it is part of
started
America.
here.
It's inextricably linked to
basketball.
Americana.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like short, so I can't like
Right.
basketball on principle. That's, it's
I
not
don't
allowed.
like it because it's squeaky.
There
Like
you go.
watching basketball is so squeaky sounding.
And hockey is, in my opinion, still the most fan favorite sport because you're allowed to fight.
Shane H.
Hockey
Wilder
fights are fun.
Yes.
said Dylan, I don't know if he means Bob or Jacob, has a good bourbon called Heaven's Door.
Well, if it's Bob Dylan, it sucks because Bob Dylan makes it. Therefore, it's bad.
He
You
probably
sip
just
it
lends
and you
his
can just
name to
hear
it.
his whiny
You
voice.
start talking in a very slow warble and calling it music.
Value in You said, Libby, as a journalist immersed in current events / news, what do you find hardest these days about successfully raising kids? Overall, are you hopeful for the future?
I think there need to be more kids, and I am hopeful for the future because I think my son is spectacular and he's my favorite, and I like his friends, and when I hear them talking to each other, I like how they talk to each other. They joke around, they make fun of each other, but also they have a lot of respect for each other. They're very kind to each other as well. And do I have hope for the future? Sure. I mean, why not? Here we are on God's green earth. Like, it can't all be bad,
I
That's a
feel
good
like the
answer.
less you pay attention to current events
Yes.
and politics, the more hope you'll have for the future. Like I was saying on IRL last night, like I've given up. Our president is apparently a pedophile, and our last president is a treasonous asshole. So who cares about any of this stuff anymore? Like, I'm going to get married. I'm going to do my best to be the best husband I can possibly be, start a family, and like make the world hopefully better in like my small little corner of it. And the rest of this stuff can just fall into your doom scroll loop of awfulness. And
Yeah, I'm to be honest, like, I got into journalism sort of by accident. It was during a period of my life when there were so many doors closing that I said I was going to walk through every open door. The door was open, I was going to walk through it. And that's how I landed in doing like news and politics and stuff. But in general, I hate the news. I hate politics.
it's all like
I'd rather talk about movies
Yeah.
and go to plays and have brunch and talk about like my friend's new boyfriend or like clothes.
I liked it
books.
more
I want to
before
talk
I was
about books.
I liked it more before I was involved in the world. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of true of like, are there like any hobbies that you have where you're like, I like it, but I wouldn't want to do it for a living? Like, does the idea of doing something like being like
That makes
obligations? Okay, so for instance,
Yeah.
like skating, I've been skating for 25 years, and it lost a lot of like, you get lost in it when you do it for companies. And then once you're no longer sponsored by brands, you don't have deadlines to meet, you're like excited to go back out and skate again because you're not like, oh, I have to get this done by this time or this date. Like, it's fun
I found
again.
that like, yeah, I mean, I write all day, which I do like, and I like my job, even though I'm not a big fan of news, because it's just all the same thing over and over again for years upon years upon years. But and you as someone who tells stories, you like look at it and you're looking for the narrative, but there isn't really a narrative. It's just stuff that happens, and then something else happens, and then somebody reacts to that, and you say that reacting is a thing that happens, and you just like keep writing it down.
That is
But it
so
never
true.
ends, and nothing ever, the stuff that happens, anything else could happen and it would get the same amount of attention. So, but I type all day. Like, I'm writing and I'm typing all day. And so I'm working on a much longer form fiction piece, and I'm handwriting it. And it's like, oh, this is such a relief. I
Yeah.
don't have to type it.
Handwriting is
I'm
crazy
handwriting
for
it. Nobody handwrites anymore.
Well,
like
it takes longer.
with
but
a pencil so you
worth
can
it.
erase
Actually,
or with
yes,
a pen.
with a pencil. But then when I edit it, I go back over it with a pen.
Okay.
And then there's also a bunch of Post-its that are whatever. It's a mess, but I like it, and I'm
Yeah.
enjoying my process.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't want to have to do that under
Time limit or
the kind of deadlines that I'm working under every day.
yeah.
Well, make sure you protect those pages
I
from
know. I'm trying to
anything.
Like, what happens? Do I
Yeah.
take pictures of it? It's like you'd have to lift up Post-its and take pictures of what's under the Post-it and the Post-it.
Or just protect it with your life.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna. Yeah, it'll be okay.
Henry Oria said, Mary, would you ever be willing to come back to the Whatever podcast with Brian Atlas? Mary and Brett, thank you. Enjoy Pop Culture Crisis. I probably wouldn't go back on the Whatever podcast.
Really? I thought it was so interesting when you were on.
It was interesting. I mean, not in like all great ways. I was asked to go back on sometime last year, and I was just like, it's not really the vibe anymore. Plus, you have to go across the country. Well, I have to go across the country for it, which is a huge commitment.
There's a 20 from Grunmeister on Rumble that I missed. Said Hulk said so along the lines of, if I had known I was being recorded, I wouldn't have said those things. Really bad apology. So he did a non-apology apology, and people were like, yeah, that's not it, bro.
Whatever. He didn't have to say sorry. People need to learn
just didn't
to
want
stop
anyone to
apologizing.
The thing is, like, in wrestling, though, like, you're part of, like, the locker room is an environment that you have to ingratiate yourself to, so it is necessary in that business.
Shane H. Wilder said, Experian, as part of their credit security, will also show you sex offenders in the area and what they did. It's actually terrifying how many there are.
I recently saw an app for that, for seeing how many sex offenders were in your area.
I'd rather not know.
I was surprised at how few there were in my area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's hopeful.
There were 3.
That's still a lot. But like,
well, it
no,
wasn't.
not
I
that
mean,
many.
like there was 3 over like, you know.
We're in a more remote
blocks,
area where people live further apart. So
yeah.
All I do is something I don't want to say. The level of respect I have for Brett has increased from 99 to 100 after that 320 jab. P.S. We miss you on Ballers.
Yeah, because I was reading an article today about how the Air Force discontinued use of the M18 because of it used to be, what was it? It used to be that it would be drop tested and the weapon would fire when you dropped it. Now it's just going off in people's holsters.
Oh, that's not good.
And Phil, if Phil was here, he would love this right now because he's a Glock guy, so he would love to be dunking on SIG right now. Glock guys everywhere are like literally cooming over this news, but as somebody,
you saying cooming is so funny.
As somebody who has owned a SIG in the past, I still would prefer weapons don't just go off in your holster. So probably good on them.
The DJ Foy said the Tickle v. Giggle app case has been appealed in our high court, though likely that will just drag it out for another 5 years.
Well, yeah, and Giggle keeps having to come up with
Tickle
money.
v. Giggle is so
And
ridiculous.
it's so stupid. Yeah, but Giggle keeps having to come up with Sal Glover, something like that. That's her name. But she has to keep coming up with money for legal fees. It's ridiculous, and it's super expensive. And meanwhile, she was just trying to launch a little business.
Mm-hmm.
And the country was like, no, you have to include this weird guy who decided he's a woman and changed his name to like a porn name. You have to have him involved.
What was the name?
Ruby,
what was the name?
Ruby
Is it
Tickles?
Is it Ruby Tickle? Let me see.
Something like that.
So in the court case was Tickle v. Giggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be the name of the movie.
So this is Australia, right?
It's Australia.
Australia is so insane for so many reasons. Morgan Xavier.
No, it's even worse. Roxy Tickle.
Ugh.
Not even Ruby.
Gross.
Roxy Tickle.
I'm dying to know what he looks like.
Oh, he looks exactly. He's got
exactly
a
what you'd expect.
Thinning hairline, limp, fine hair
Gross.
hanging down, a little bit of a pervy look on his face.
They always
some
look like
stubble, some little stubble.
It's the same look every time.
Yes.
Morgan Xavier said, I think Sydney Sweeney is so popular because she's girl next door pretty, attainable compared to the ridiculous hotness of a Megan Fox. Thoughts?
Wait, but didn't Megan Fox do like so much plastic surgery to herself that she doesn't even look like she looked?
She
anymore?
did a lot. Yeah. She changed a lot. But that argument doesn't make sense to me either because Megan Fox was extremely popular. And men, of course, were like obsessed with Megan Fox when Megan Fox still looked like Megan Fox. So I don't know if that really explains this phenomenon. No Control said, before I knew the Gen Z stare was a thing, I thought they were just high or mentally challenged. Oh no, they are. They are high.
They are high.
They are high. They are likely mentally
yeah.
challenged. They're likely medicated and autistic.
Vape pen,
all of those things.
and Adderall.
Yes. No Control.
Just like Hillary Clinton, right? Tranquilizers. 2016.
No Control said, why is TikTok hosting employee training videos? Yeah, I don't know why like an actual place of business would let their employees make skit videos about their customers being stupid, but that's just how it is now. No Control said, I don't care if they say thank you or go F yourself, let me know we're done. Yeah, fries in the bag. I mean, I do care. I care, but it's not going to like ruin my day if someone's rude. Shane H. Wilder said, to quote my dad, I didn't get an I'm sorry, kiss my ass or anything. Yeah, like you would hope that they at least get angry at you, but it's just nothing.
Like you'd be like, I just want to feel something.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of leaving me hanging here.
Yeah.
Like tell me you hate me.
Dubby Nanners said, Brett, have you watched any of the Peacock originals like Poker Face or Twisted Metal? Twisted Metal Season 2 trailer looks awesome.
Yes, I have not seen Poker Face. I loved Twisted Metal Season 1. Granted, it's been now 2 years since I've seen it. But, like, that's what I think of. That's what Anthony Mackie should be doing is Twisted Metal. Season 2 does look great. There's another professional wrestling connection because it's Samoa Joe playing Sweet Tooth. I'm looking forward to season 2. I've got to sign on for Peacock first. Like I got to get like Peacock for a month to do that. Is it on Tubi? Is it on like ad-free Tubi?
Yes.
I don't know. Will it be on ad-free Tubi? We'll have to wait and find out. But I do wanna see season 2 of Twisted Metal. I thought it was really, really good.
I love Poker Face. I love it.
What's it about?
It's basically Columbo.
Ooh.
Except Natasha Lyonne plays Columbo.
Oh. Okay.
And yeah, I mean, it's basically so much so that like in season 2, in one of the episodes, they had a reference where a guy said, "Let me just ask you one more thing," and that's the Columbo line. If you ever watch Peter Falk and Columbo, which is great. But basically, Natasha Lyonne plays this woman who can always tell if somebody's lying.
Okay.
And it's fun because she takes on some Columbo-iness.
There was a show in 2010 with Tim Roth called
Tonight is the
Lie to Me, where he plays a guy who can
part 2 of last week's crazy cliffhanger.
The guy reads micro expressions, which was a big thing in the early 2000s. Micro expressions in those TV shows. But that's
your
that
tell.
shows,
You're like little tell, yeah.
What other Peacock originals? There was a one that I found really offensive that I wouldn't even watch. I didn't watch Bel Air. I know some people. Love Island is on Peacock, so if you
really,
yeah.
Oh.
What was the one that was like a remake of something that I really, really like? I saw it and I was like, I'm not watching that. It wasn't Doctor?
It offended you?
It was literally the concept of it offended me.
I don't know.
See if I can find it. And I didn't like I got through one episode of The Continental and turned it off. It was nothing like the John Wick movies, so I couldn't. Twisted Metal was good.
Greg Duvier said, I've joined the Nothing Ever Happens Club.
It's nothing ever It's nothing ever changes. Stuff happens, nothing changes.
Right. But yeah, I'm glad that people are finally coming around. Remember to take your vitamins and pray tonight.
As you should.
Yeah, I think that might have been a little bit of propaganda from the vitamin lobby, though.
Well, it was interesting because it's eat your vitamins. So does that mean take pills, or does that mean eat your carrots and your spinach and be more like Popeye?
Right.
It was the Day of the Jackal TV series with what's her name?
What offends you about it?
Lashana Lynch sucks.
Okay.
In general,
but you said the concept
because it's based on something that just didn't need to be made, and I'm just like, why they just be making anything these days? They just be making anything.
They do. The Last of My Kind said, we will know when AI Brett takes over because he will have a mustache. My Gen Z niece was confused over why I would ice an injury instead of medication.
That's scary.
Ugh. Why would AI Brett have a mustache though?
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
You do technically have a mustache, but
it's in connection.
It's connected.
Yeah, I guess you'll know it's actually AI Brett when I'm clean shaven again.
Shane H. Wilder said, Brett, everything is on ad-free Tubi.
That is true.
It's the best streaming service.
It is. You just got to go online to find it.
Yep.
It's very, very special. But literally, like I'm not even going clean shaven for my wedding. We've figured out the proper length of facial hair so that it's not overgrown because I can't do.
Is it that?
It's shorter than this, but not by much. I just can't. I can't do clean shaven
Yeah, why would you have to do that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I mean, I've never been married before, but I imagine that a lot of people are expected to go clean shaven to their wedding.
Really?
I don't know.
It seems weird to have hair growing out of your face anyway.
Yeah.
Like shaving it every day seems like that would be a real pain in the
makes
butt.
me glad I'm not a man.
You'd have hair growing out of your face.
That's crazy.
Seems itchy.
Yeah. No, thank you.
All right. Is that everything?
I think so.
That's everything. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Libby, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Libby Emmons. And you can subscribe to my newsletter at thepostmillennial.com/Libby. And you can check out what we're doing at thepostmillennial.com and humanevents.com.
See, if I was better at my job, I would have waited an extra second. I apologize.
It's fine.
Mary,
it was a moment. We had a moment.
Yeah, I like that. That's character. You guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived. I am going to be on Timcast IRL tonight, so make sure you tune in.
Perfect. If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, which is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch this show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which is another great way to help the channel out. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at popculturecrisis, Instagram at popculturecrisis pod. Guys, we'll be back with another episode.
One more.
Oh, there's one more?
From The Last of My Kind, but I don't see it now. It's gone.
Oh, wait, hold on. There it is.
Mustache Brett, because real you wouldn't.
Oh, that would be how they know that it's...
I don't like the Gen Z mustache trend.
Yeah.
Miss
that
me with that.
The Benson Boone?
The Benson Boone, yeah. Like a lot of Gen Z guys have mustaches
big
now.
mustaches?
They're, yeah, substantial mustaches, like, you know, a little squirrel on your face.
Oh, how about that? That was a big thing for a while, and I remember a friend of mine said he had a beard and a mustache, and then he shaved the beard, and he said you pick up a totally different kind of woman with a mustache.
Like in a good way or a bad way?
Well, it was interesting. It was interesting.
I imagine that's true. Yeah.
With that little tidbit of wisdom, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. See you guys then.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.